Welcome back to Combat Sports Weekly. We have a new face to the show, so let's get the roundtable started. Let's start off with the newbie. He's the MMA editor for Bleacher Report. Brian Oswald, how you doing, man?
Good, glad to be here in studio.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on finally. I've been trying to get you on for a few weeks now.
Finally made it happen.
Yeah. To his left, James Lindemew, 610 The Sports Animal. Where can people catch you, man?
Every Thursday, 5:35 on 610 The Sports Animal, and soon to be every Saturday morning, not just covering combat sports, but we're going to be covering all sports at that time.
That's awesome.
So if he's the newbie, are we like the old guys?
You guys are officially the old guys.
Okay, understood. Understood.
To his left, Micah Frankel, Cage Minds MMA, Fox Sports FM. What else you on?
There's Red Menace TV, and yeah, DC Life on 95.9 every Saturday morning, 11 to 12.
Make sure you guys do, him a favor and check out the Cage Minds MMA. It does a hell of a job covering the local and national, news here. Let's start off with some national news. Demetrious Johnson versus John Dodson, Saturday night pay-per-view, 125 pounds. Michael, let's start it off, man. What do you think about
countdown?
the fight?
That was fun. They both don't like each other this time. And they're cursing about it, and I knocked him out, and I was punching him a million. This is going to be fun. They're going to go at it. It's going to be fast. It's going to be entertaining, and Dodson has the best chance of taking that title from Johnson. He has to knock him out. I don't think he can outlast him for 25 minutes, but his manager told me before he didn't have a strength or conditioning coach, so this is a new Dodson we're going to see. He's confident now with his knee after that fight with Makovsky. He has the potential to pull the upset.
Very quickly, your official prediction.
Dodson wins. I'm going to take him by
knockout?
upset knockout in the third round.
James, we'll go to you.
It's going to be an interesting fight, obviously, just based on there has been some animosity that's grown since the fight. The fact is Johnson has looked really good since his fight against Dodson, and Dodson has had some performances that you wouldn't exactly rank as his top performances of his career. I still like, Dodson to win the fight. I think he can actually last the 25 minutes. I mean, one of Johnson's strong points is his stamina, but I don't think that that's something that can't be overcome by Dodson's speed and actually wearing him out. I do see John winning the fight, but I do see it going to a decision. I don't see a knockout.
All right, Brian, it's on you.
I think Dodson can definitely win this fight. I think he needs to break Johnson. He almost broke him in the first fight in that second round.
Knockdowns.
Yeah, he knows what he needs to do. He needs to go in there, and he's been talking about how he's going to go in there crazy killer, and that's what he needs to do. And I do think he could go all 5 rounds. Johnson's hittable, so if he hits him enough, he could win. I think it'll go to a decision, and I'm going to pick Dodson just because it's Dodson.
So we go 3-0 so far for Dodson.
We're not homers at all, though.
Yeah, not at all. I might be the one breaking it here.
Johnson's possibly the pound-for-pound best fighter in the sport. John Jones, Jose Aldo's, but Dodson is right there. So
right, and I think the odds reflect complete contradiction of what some of us might think because of the knockout or the possible knockout. It's 4-1 underdog that Dodson is. I don't think we've seen him that big of an underdog ever in his career. So it's just really. That's what it's ultimately going to come down to. So can he knock him out? Yeah, I definitely believe so because he's been there before. But Johnson is a whole different beast. I think I'm going to go the opposite way here and kind of choose against the grain here.
It's a smart pick.
I'm going to go Johnson with a decision. It's going to be a split decision, too.
I'm going to text him right after we're done here.
We've seen a lot of champions go down recently.
Yeah. So please don't do that. But more news. November 17th, we thought it was going to be Carlos Condit against Robbie Lawler. It's now Ronda Rousey against Holly Holm in Australia. You think they can fill that Etihad Stadium with 70,000 people?
Yeah, I really do. I think Rousey is that big. I think Melbourne in particular thinks of themselves as like a big sporting city, and they're going to rally everyone. And there's going to be politicians, businessmen involved. They were pining for that fight before, and they didn't get it. Now they've got it. I think they'll do it.
Right, that Carlos Condit, Robbie Lawler. What do you think that would have done if it would have taken place there? It seemed kind of an odd place to have it.
Yeah, I think that fans there were so hungry to get a UFC event that they would have come out. I don't know that they would have broke the record. I think that's a lot to ask, but with Rousey, I think they can do it.
Yeah, James, your thoughts on the fight being held in such a big stadium and being moved up 7 weeks?
I'm just upset because I was going to go to Vegas to watch the fight before, but honestly, you're absolutely right. Now, it is a sporting town. It's a sports-centered town. They were going to show up whether it was A versus B, if that's the case. But Rousey has a worldwide household name right now, so it makes sense for them. And you and I were speaking earlier. There's conspiracy theorists out there that are saying that this fight may have been moved for reasons of filling the stadium instead. Either way, I'm disappointed I can't go, but I'm still going to be sitting on my couch watching it. So, yes, they can fill it, and I think they will.
How disappointed were you when you heard the news of Robbie Lawler being injured?
I was horribly disappointed. I really want to see that fight. That sounds like a very, very fun fight. You know, fight of the year type candidate. I mean, we saw what Carlos did against McDonald. You think about how McDonald fought Lawler. That was just Lawler versus Conn. It sounded like fireworks right there. It's the next best option. It's their biggest star. They want to pack that stadium. It sounds like the right move. If they put Aldo McGregor there, they were too scared that, you know, Aldo would get injured again or something. They know that Holly and Ronda are both going to come in. This is what exactly. This makes sense for them on that business end. She has the movies out there, so this makes sense for her stardom. That they're having enough Aussies on that card that the whole nation will try to get there. From, you know, Robert Whittaker, Anthony Perosh, all those guys are going to be there from different parts of the country. It's going to be huge.
You took some of my time, but very quickly for the three of you, how bad does this hurt Holly Holm that the fight's 7 weeks shorter or shorter notice?
I don't necessarily think it helps her, but I think that if, you know, anyone was not going to be as impacted, it'll be Holly because of the coaches that she has here in Albuquerque. They'll get her ready. Whether or not she'll be ready enough for Rousey is another question.
All right, I'm sorry guys, we're out of time for this segment, or for that particular topic. We'll move on to the next one, and we'll start with you, James. Of course, Leo Santa Cruz versus Abner Mares. It was a fight everybody was hyped about if they knew boxing. What did you think about it? Did it live up to the hype?
I think it did. I absolutely think it did. And then something that you mentioned earlier, it's the lightweight Hagler-Hearns, as you had said earlier. And they threw over, like you said, 2,000 punches. I think Santa Cruz threw like 1097 or something like that by CompuBox. Of course, it lived up to expectations. I think Martes just went out there and started way too quick. He started a pace that he couldn't maintain. And you saw that in the last 6, 7, 8 rounds of the fight when Santa Cruz really took over and started to dominate the fight. But yeah, it absolutely lived up to it. I mean, the talk of a rematch was immediate, so that tells you how good the fight was.
Right. Michael, we'll go to you. Did you DVR it like you said you would?
Oh yeah, I watched it. That first round, I just remember at the end of it, the announcer was like, and that was more action than the entire Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. More action than May 2nd right there. And I was just like, awesome, this is fun. Sat there, enjoyed the whole thing. That was a back and forth war, but like you said, Mares came out sprinting, and that length and that power just started to hit him, and he was just kind of throwing wild, and you could see Santa Cruz starting to pick him apart there.
Yeah. And as an MMA guy, Brian, what do you think when you hear both guys combined through over 2,000 punches?
Oh, it's insane. I started out as a boxing fan when I was younger. I did the WWE, pro wrestling, to boxing, to MMA. And
I think that's the natural progression.
Yeah, exactly. And so
it's a gateway drug.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just something about a big boxing match and the electricity in the crowd, and when it just gets going and it builds over 12 rounds, I don't think that you can compare an MMA fight to a boxing fight like that. It's just something special, and I really enjoyed it.
Especially when it's the case that it's two Mexican-American guys in the most Mexican-American of cities of Los Angeles, and they're both from the city, so the hype and the anticipation, you felt it. It came across through the TV screen of how big this fight was for both guys. Now, Santa Cruz, of course, gets that victory. A lot of people said he had a lot of, you know, easy cupcake fights and cupcake wins, and that's not the case anymore.
He's starting to restore his reputation,
definitely.
I think.
Yes or no, would you guys buy this fight if it were on pay-per-view for the rematch?
Depends on the pricing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
100% across the board, yes. So, guys, we only have a couple of seconds. I'd like to thank each one of you for coming. Big fight. Potentially, here, UFC, Albuquerque can potentially have another world champion. Carlos Condit, of course, the only other one. So make sure you guys stay tuned. You guys watch the fights this weekend, and we'll make sure to have you covered next week.